I'm looking for discard. I find discard in 2 Thoughtseize and 2 Inquisition of Kozilek. So yeah, this is a very standardized Esper Stoneblade list.
So, Bug Explorer, Nick Fit, whatever you want to call it, it's basically a black-green rock-style deck that's hubbed around Veteran Explorer, trying to break the symmetry of that card by just assuming most of your opponents don't have very many basic lands in their lists for the most part, which is true in Legacy. And traditionally this deck is black and just black-green. Jason over here has added blue into the deck for Baleful Strix, Brainstorm, Force Will, and Jace the Mind Sculptor. And he has, you know, these decks usually have sort of a suite of Green Sun Zenith targets up the curve. His are Scavenging Ooze, Eternal Witness, Thrun the Last Troll, Thragtusk, and Primeval Titans, all shown as singletons.
As we do see a Spell Pierce take care of Jason's Sensei's Divine Top. Jason going to untap, draws a Pernicious Deed for the turn. See if he has any Veteran Explorer shenanigans.
If you ask your opponent starts on Island Sensei's Divining Top, what are the odds that Primeval Titan is in their deck?
Yeah, relatively slim.
Probably pretty low.
Yeah. Well, I think Jason's deck is he's off to a nice start this tournament. We'll have some cards to bring up on the screen here for you. As you do see a Polluted Delta here from Andrew. Going to sacrifice that, move down to 19. First fetch of likely to be many for this matchup. So Jason wants to make sure this is going to resolve. It's going to get stifled. And green light is on.
At the Invitational, I was asked in the quick question section, what's the weirdest card you've ever seen in play in a game of Legacy? And my answer was If Biff Ifrit, and that was thanks to a Nick Fit deck a couple of opens ago that I did commentary at Las Vegas.
And the name of that card again was If Biff
Ifrit.
Okay. Inquisition of Kozilek, a little bit easier to say, being cast right now.
So we are looking at a hand of Eternal Witness, Pernicious Deed, Green Sun Zenith, and 3 lands. Sort of the cat's out of the bag now that Jason is on some sort of attrition control deck.
Yeah.
All 3 of his spells are signaling that.
Yeah. So, Andrew was probably thinking, I'm probably going to see, a Spell Pierce or some counter magic over here that's going to be super annoying. That is not the case.
Given the presence of both Green Sun Zenith and Cabal Therapy in his deck, I'm surprised Jason was not able to find room for a single Dryad Arbor. It seems like a very natural inclusion.
Okay. Turn those Zeniths on to overdrive, maybe?
Sure, and it's very good with therapy as well.
It's true. Here's a Bayou. And there's Sensei's Divine Top off the top. So that's going to resolve. And we're going to see a little spin here. 2 and 3. See how he reorganizes that top of that library. Can't get a good look at it. So
Veteran Explorer, another Divining Top, and something else.
So Andrew's going to untap. He's going to draw a card for the turn. It's going to be a Polluted Delta. So he's very land heavy right now. He has a Snapcaster Mage and a Swords of Plowshares in his hand, but not much after that.
Yep. So really all he needs from this spot is basically a Jace to blood the game open.
Yep, that's what Jace typically does. And there is your Snapcaster Mage going to flash back into Inquisition of Kozilek. And there's our hand again of Verdant Catacombs Island, Green Sun Zenith, and Pernicious Deed. So what to take? I feel like it's, I was thinking maybe it could be the Zenith here.
Yep. I mean, Andrew's best path to victory in this matchup is just by going for Jace. And if that's the case, then you don't care about Pernicious Deed, but Green Zenith very relevant.
Yeah. So Jason draws a card that was on top of his deck already, which he set from Sensei's Divine Top, plays an island, does pass the turn back. Andrew quickly untaps. He's going to draw a card here. He draws a Brainstorm. And then clicking the draw step from Jason, he's going to try to make things a little bit more complicated for Andrew.
Target Andrew in response. I assume we're going to see a Brainstorm here.
Looks to be the case. So a Brainstorm in response to Vendilion Click. Not sure if it has entered play yet or not, as it may be in response to just the spell very simply, but Brainstorm either way is going to resolve here for Andrew, and he's going to organize his next couple of turns. As you do see, he has a fetch land to be able to cycle away some of the garbage he puts back.
So Looks like Andrew's going to reveal a hand of Force of Will and Sword to Plowshares. Curious to see if Jason actually... Okay, so still with the trigger on the stack, it looks like we're going to plow it. Then reveals a hand of Force of Will and 2 lands.
What do you think? Let him keep the Force?
Probably let him keep the Force. The way the game is being paced right now.
Any fear that he can just hard cast that Force of Will? You know, he doesn't have a second blue card, but that's
Sure.
not the end of the world.
But the game's on a pretty slow pace. You have 4 copies of Cabal Therapy in your deck, so it's not bad to strand him with a reactive card like that.
Okay. Here's a top activation on Andrew's end step. 2 and 3.
There's a Volrath Stronghold too, potentially quite powerful in conjunction with the Eternal Witness that got discarded earlier.
Yeah, we're going old school. Very grindy, that approach.
Oh yeah.
Looks like there's a Scavenging Ooze as the draw. You saw Andrew slide across his graveyard. Jason asking, can you slide those cards over a little bit for me? I need to see if I want to keep the Scavenging Ooze. And I do. Scavenging Ooze, a card we'll bring up on the screen for you guys, as this was a huge staple about, almost, it feels like forever, like 2 years ago now, where Maverick was really dominant. So about, like, I feel like maybe a year ago is a little bit more accurate, but we saw a lot of Scavenging Oozes in that deck back then.
Yes. I think people were somewhat unprepared for it for a little while, in part because it wasn't in a regular booster release.
As you see, Delta's going to get sacrificed here, so Andrew can shuffle away the stuff that he put back from that Brainstorm. Scavenging Ooze, again, this is the card that's just all upside. It broke open a lot of things like the Maverick Mirror, very good against Dredge, albeit a little bit slow, but there was a lot of things that this card could do, and once people finally just start seeing it in action and the fact that you can Green Sun Zenith for it, it got respected and moved up in price quite a bit.
Yeah. Ponder for Andrew.
2 and 3.
Looks like, is that Batterskull Jit Swamp?
Batterskull is the card that he just draw, so this isn't the first time we've seen this today. It won't be the last either.
I think that if I'm in Andrew's position in this matchup, I would be loath to try to win through equipment, because you don't really want to have to care about Pernicious Deed very much. And the more that you try to get that sort of thing set up, the more that you have to fight over cards like Pernicious Deed. And a deck like Bug Explorer is definitely able to go over the top.
Yep.
You can just play Primeval Titan or Thragtusk and actually just brawl with a Batterskull.
That's true.
I'd be much more about trying to just set up card advantage and try to get Jace online as quickly as possible.
There's your Caracas. Andrew going to tap 5 mana. Going to come out here with a Batterskull. And Germ Token going to come into play. And we might see an attack with Sarcastic Mage, but I'd be a little surprised if we did. As Andrew does get a Germ Token there from our Table Spotter. And he does just pass the turn back. Jason going to sacrifice a Verdant Catacombs here on Andrew's end step. Likely to get a green source to get a Scavenging Ooze activation.
And keep in mind, Jason also with Jaces of his own in his deck, which would be quite the draw from this spot.
Jace always deadly. Doesn't matter who has it.
Yeah, always good. Assuming people aren't at risk of dying in the first 4 turns of the game, Jason's probably the best card in the matchup.
I'm inclined to agree.
And this is definitely a matchup where no one's dying that quickly.
No siree, Bob. Jason going to untap. He's going to draw. Brainstorm is the draw here to go on with the Pernicious Deed in his hand. See if he's going to start his turn off with a Brainstorm, perhaps. Or if he's just going to get this Pernicious Deed out on the table. And he is going to put Deed out there. And he'll just pass the turn back. So Andrew's going to get the opportunity on tap here. And so now, because Pernicious Deed, he doesn't have enough money, he doesn't have enough, lands to play and activate the Deed in 1 turn for 5. Very far away from that, honestly. That Pattern Skull can actually be pretty safe in this situation, as long as Andrew does just keep 3 lands up for the duration of the game.
And he can still hardcast Force of Will too.
And that was a little bit of the fear with keeping the Force of Will in his hand with the Vendilion click. It's just because if he is able to get ahead a little bit, Force of Will again does have that mana cost that people tend to forget about. So for his next good card from Jason, Andrew can just decide if it's going to resolve or if it's not. And Jason does draw a Force of Will for his turn. Does have that Brainstorm over there as well. And does just looks like he's just going to pass the turn back. He just simply doesn't have very much going on right now. And so he does pass back. Andrew draws an island for the turn to go along with a Lingering Souls and a Force of Will. Checking his graveyard very quickly here. Says, I'm going to attack with my Batter Skull.
Probably still just correct for Jason to take these hits.
So now we're going to see a Sensei Top activation. Now we're going to see an activation of Pernicious Deed for 5.
Assume this is going to induce Batter Skull to go back, and we're going to cast Lingering Souls after the fact.
Yeah. So there'll be some trading of resources here. Sensei's Divine Top still on Jason's deck. Basically trying to set up something here where Andrew recasts the Batter Skull and he Force of Wills it. Is what it looks like Jason's trying to accomplish. The problem here is that in the meantime, Andrew has a Lingering Souls to start putting more pressure on his life total in the air with these Spirit tokens.
2 turn players, your pairings for round 4 are now forced out.
So Jason's going to untap. He's going to draw a card. It is at Sensei's Divine Top. There's a Verdant Catacombs to clear the top of his library if he doesn't like it. Reshuffle is the incorrect term, as it is not a Brainstorm. But here is a Brainstorm from Jason. 1 Misty Rainforest, Underground Sea, and another Misty Rainforest. So need to get some of this stuff out of here.
Yeah. 2 lands back. Keep the Shuffler again. Surprised to see him not cast the top.
Yeah, it looks like he just wants to he wants to be able to hard cast the Force of Will at this point. He does have the 5 mana necessary, and he wants to fight over that Batter Skull. There's an island. So Andrew's going to flash back Lingering Souls here. And this is the problem for Jason. His plan goes up in smoke very badly because Andrew has an alternate avenue to victory.
Yep.
And right now he can choose to just keep holding up Force of Will as Jason is going to sacrifice the Verdant Catacombs, or he could make his move with another Lingering Souls and flashing it back or hard casting a Batter Skull. But he has 4 points of damage on the board for creatures and no reason not to sit there with Force of Will up.
Yep.
Until at least he finds another blue card.
And even more concerning for Jason is now a lot of his good draws are being shut out too.
Yep.
Like Jace was the card I was just about to mention.
So he's going to lead out here with Sensei's Divine Top. And Andrew says that's fine, and Jason just passes the turn back. So Andrew very quickly untaps and sends him with those Spirit tokens again. Jason's going to move down to 9 here. Just a very, very difficult spot here for Jason. Source of Plowshare is the card drawn for Andrew this turn. So Jason's going to spin the top. Andrew basically saying, I have no reason to move until you give me a reason to.
Yep. Jason has just found Cabal Therapy, so that might...
That can induce some action finally.
Yep.
So Jason untaps, he draws. Here is the Cabal Therapy that you spoke of, Patrick. He's going to draw a card with Sensei's Divine Top right now, too. So here is a Misty Rainforest, so he's going to shuffle his top away.
Maybe he's found a redundant copy.
Yeah.
So I assume we're going to open up with just Therapy on Force of Will, see where it goes from there.
Yep. See if he has a...
Maybe we actually open on Batter Skull.
Oh, there's a Primeval Titan. Okay.
Oh, okay, if there's a Primeval Titan, then that means we're probably naming Force of Will, I would assume.
So the turn starts off with Cabal Therapy.
Looks like Andrew happy to fight over this.
Yep, hard not to. So there's your Hardcast Force of Will that Jason didn't know about. He had to go through some work to be able to get that out of here, but it is finally done. So now the window is open. Let's see how Jason's able to take advantage of it. So there's a Primeval Titan. See a Source of Plowshares, a Lingering Souls, and a Batter Skull over there in Tenjum's hand. Prime Time is going to resolve. You're going to see a Creeping Tar Pit here.
I think
actually two of them.
This is a small thing, but I think it would have been correct for Andrew to plow the Primeval Titan with the trigger on the stack. You're almost certainly plowing it anyway, and that prevents Jason from using Primeval Titan with Flashback Cabal Therapy this turn.
Sure. At least cuts one of his options. So he does just pass the turn back.
Okay, so he's not okay. So he's just trying to kill in 2 turns.
Yeah,
that's fine then. If that's his plan, then I can get behind not plowing.
So in for 4 we go. Jason's going to move down to 4.
Although if he's not willing to kill it, he's risking a lot of stuff potentially going bad. I mean, if Jason finds Pernicious Deed here, for example, all of a sudden it gets pretty ugly.
Yeah. Game changes quite a bit. Tenjum is just going to pass the turn back yet again, not willing to commit anything to the board. Jason going to draw a card. He does draw a Misty Rainforest to go along with his Force of Will. And his Jace the Mind Sculptor. And Jace, can you save him?
I mean, he gets to unsummon and go up. I mean, basically cut a point of power off the table.
Uh-huh.
I also think that he has a Creeping Tar Pit in play with which he can block a token, so... Sorry. Unblockable, not flying. So no, but Jace does cut 1 token off.
So there's a Brainstorm response to Jace. Flooded Strand, another land, and a mystery card here. It's a Snapcaster Mage. And he is a land short from being able to play Snapcaster Mage and hardcast a Force of Will. So he is going to bounce a Spirit token.
If you signed up for Boost Draft number 7, we are now meeting at the side events area.
Now he's going to activate here.
Boost Draft number 7.
Creeping Tar Pit and get on in here with the Titan and the Tar Pit. We'll see a Primeval Titan trigger. As long as Jason remembers, I would assume he'd like to search. Looks like he's not going to.
So this end of turn, just Snapcaster Mage. We can just ambush Viper him out of this game from here.
Yep, and it looks like Andrew does see it, so he's going to tap 2 mana. He's going to play Snapcaster Mage, Flashback Brainstorm. Make sure that he's all good to go. So Flooded Strand, Swamp, and Stoneforge Mystic are the draws. He can just put 2 cards back here and quickly untap, and it looks like he's going to finish this game off. So draw a card, throw that Flooded Strand, and come across the last 5. Yeah. So Andrew Tenjum is going to win game number 1 here against Jason Hwang. Esper Blade versus Bug Explorer, as we're going to move on to our sideboards here. Patrick, I know you have the Bug Explorer sideboard in front of you. What can he do?
He has 3 copies of Carpet of Flowers, which is pretty nice for trying to out-mana him here.
Okay, which is what his deck is trying to accomplish in the first place.
He can move into a counterbalance package again. And, you know, it's not like Andrew is a control deck with Abrupt Decay, so
sure.
Counterbalance is not a bad line to go to. He has a single Engineered Plague, which I actually like a fair bit because Lingering Souls is a little bit rough on Jason's stack, as was demonstrated in that last game. 2 copies of Extirpate he can also go to as an anti-Snapcaster measure and just as general kind of utility in the control matchup. So those are the cards in the sideboard that I like.
Taking a look at Andrew's sideboard, a lot of one-ofs here with Path to Exile, Detention Sphere, Disenchant, Force of Will, Supreme Verdict, Thought Seize, and Inquisition of Kozilek. And you see us 3 of a Flusterstorm, Geist of St. Traft, and 2 Rest in Peace. No cards, of course, are going to stick out to you here that are good against this rather unique deck in Bug Explorer. But I think the Path of Exile is certainly a good place to start. Detention Sphere gives him an answer to Jace the Mind Sculptor that he may not otherwise have. As he does have a Vindicate in his main deck, but another effect would be good to make his a little bit better. Force of Will's not so bad, but that card's going to be named quite a bit with Cabal Therapy. Alternatively, it is a rather grindy matchup, so I'm not sure that you want a card that 2-for-1s yourself here. And then I actually think that he does have the ability to steal a game rather quickly with Geist of St. Traft, so that could be an option as well.
Yeah, Geist of St. Traft is, there's definitely some games where it would be very powerful. If I was in Andrew's position, I would be a little bit concerned about just the ground getting gummed up in general. These green-black decks have a tendency to have, whether it's Thrawn, Eternal Witnesses, Scavenging Oozes, just things that you don't really want to kill or can't really kill that make your Geist a lot worse. Yep. You can clearly get some draws where you pick their hand apart with discard, land a quick Geist, and kill them before Jason can kind of get his powerful stuff online. So that card, there's a lot of variance in what the quality of that card is going to be from a game-to-game situation.
Robert Brown or
All right, well, we are going to see how both players are going to sideboard up here, as they both do have a bevy of options. If you guys are just joining us, Cedric Phillips, Patrick Sullivan here in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. The SCG Open Series has made it here, and well, likely they're going to make it back. Very good turnout this weekend.
So. Milwaukee, Chicago, Madison, everyone represented their area pretty well this weekend, I would say.
So very, very impressive turnout to all the players that have come here. Hopefully you guys are enjoying the coverage from home. If you guys do want to join in with us, on Twitter, feel free to do that at SCG Live, hashtag SCGMKE. Send us your tweets. We'll be checking on them. Tell us all about your...
Cedric will be checking on them.
All right, I'll be checking on them. I use the royal we there. Sapphire Charm. One of many. Hey, I don't lie. I got the phone at the ready here, guys, to check the tweets with you. So.
Oh, no, it's true. Trust me. Also, Jason has a single Maelstrom Pulse in his sideboard here. Also seems excellent for trying to contain Planeswalkers and Batter Skulls that get into play and so forth. He's in a sort of weird position in this matchup where it's not clear if he has a better short game, and it's not clear if he has a better long game. I'm not sure what facet of the game he's actually favored in. Part of the problem is he's using a lot of equity to ramp into these green creatures, and you actually saw him naturally draw his Primeval Titan in, and it wasn't particularly good. We've covered some legacy decks where Primeval Titan gets into play, the 12 post decks, and the game's over, even if you have Source of Plowshares on the spot. The amount of mana or whatever utility lands they're getting closes the game out right then and there. In Jason's deck, he got, he can go get a Wasteland and Creeping Tar Pit. That's fine, but given the investment of mana and time and energy to set all that up, it's not clear if it's really worth it in this matchup.
Yeah, it has to be a bit of a red flag, right? Where if he does draw one of the cards that's in his deck, in Primeval Titan, resolves it, gets 2 Creeping Tar Pits, attacks with it, deals his opponent 6 points of damage, and then loses. That has to be a bit of a red flag that maybe this isn't one of the game plans that is A, good in this matchup, or B, just might not be very good in the deck overall.
You know what would have been good in that game? If Biffy Free would have done a very good job at containing Lingering Souls.
Do we have If Biffy Free? Is that a card we can bring up? You know how to spell that? Because I don't. And I don't know what set it's from.
Arabian Nights.
And I don't know what it does. But you keep talking about it, and I want to see it. So hopefully our director can do that for us. I think I have an idea of the picture of it for some reason in my head.
It's the the misprinted Serendip Ifrit artwork in Revised?
I think so.
The green bordered Serendip Ifrit that got misprinted and Revised. That's the If Biffy Ifrit art.
Okay. Can you tease me with what it does?
No.
Okay.
I would rather you be surprised.
All right, fair enough. We'll figure out what it is at some point. As we're going to see a Sensei's Divine Top. Okay, here we go. 4 mana, 3/3 flyer. Put in play. Any player can play green to have this do 1 damage to each player and each flying creature. Sweet.
Would have been good that game.
Yeah, you are right. You're right.
Would have been better than Primeval Titan.
Yeah. +1 to you, my friend.
Top goes back on top. Gonna shuffle. It looks like Jason has another Divine Top in his hand, so he's trying to get rid of his extra copy. That's a Chris Higashi joint, by the way. I can't take credit for it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Chris Higashi, a Vegas player and judge, loves the Nick Fit deck. And there's a Scavenging Ooze here, so he's going to have to finish shuffling up here.
Stoneforge off the top for the second turn.
Here's your Plains. Let's see if it's going to be Stoneforge time. It looks like it's going to be. Yep, so he's going to sacrifice and play a Stoneforge Mystic. Let's see if he's going to search for Batterskull or Umezawa's Cheat.
I would assume that we would want to get Jite here because the games seem a lot more about containing what's on the board than just trying to race.
Okay.
But we're going to go for Batterskull here instead. Batterskull was reasonably powerful last game against Jason's answer, so
yeah.
Whatever the answer is to that question, I think it's pretty close.
So Jason's going to draw Sensei's Divine Top for the turn. Looks like he has at least one land in his hand. Yeah, he does have a forest.
He lacks double blue for the Vendilion Click in his hand, which could be good in terms of containing the Batterskull that Andrew just got.
See, Baleful Strix, Jace the Mind Sculptor. Looks like he has at least two tops, maybe a third one. So he puts back, yeah, it looks like he puts back two tops here. And he does not have a fetch line, so he is Brainstorm locked right now. Here comes the Snapcaster. Here comes the Scavenging, excuse me, not Snapcaster Mage.
There's a surprising number of basic lands in Jason's deck.
How many does he have?
He has 5 total basics.
Okay.
Given how taxing his colored mana requirements are, I'm surprised to see that volume.
Sometimes you just don't want to be wastelanded, man. Sometimes it's just not okay. And Sensei's Divine Top finds Jason a Creeping Tar Pit, which unfortunately for him is not a 4th mana that comes into play untapped for his Jason the Mind Sculptor.
We can play Baleful Strix here and draw a card. It'll get us another card deeper for when we look at top again at the end of this turn.
And that's what his play is going to be. He is going to cast a Baleful Strix. So he's going to spend top with the Baleful Strix activation on the stack. Pass the turn back. So here comes Batterskull with a Germ token. Andrew going to draw a card. It's a Polluted Delta.
And Andrew's hand looks stacked.
Yeah, looks very, very good. Batterskull is going to trade off here with the Baleful Strix. Just going to get that part of the game over with. It will net Andrew 4 points of life. And see if he has, I think he does have a Jace over there, yeah.
Yep.
See a Stoneforge Mystic as well. So there is a Stoneforge Mystic. It's going to trigger that. Search up maybe the Jeet this time. Yep, so there's that.
What do you think about doing this instead of going for Jace?
So, I mean, if he goes for Jace this turn, he plays it. Maybe he just bounces Scavenging Ooze and moves on with life. Alternatively, he can play Jace, maybe Fate Seal, or just Brainstorm, and then block with the Stoneforge Mystic. I think I prefer Jace on that turn. I feel like the window is open. And I think that's the move that I would have made. I'm not sure how I would have ended up using Jace, but I feel like
sure.
the window's open there, and I want to resolve it. And I know my opponent has Jaces of his own, so I want to have mine first, get some value from it, and you know, if all things don't break correctly, then he has to use his own Jace just to get mine off the table.
Yeah.
So Tenjum's going to break his fetch lands here.
Seems to be some confusion about what.
Yeah, I think maybe he wants one at a time to happen. Yeah. So sacrifice Polluted Delta. So this is on the stack here. Okay, I see. So it's Vendilion Click.
Okay. So,
which makes sense.
That makes sense.
Because he wants to catch that. He wants to catch maybe the equipment.
Yeah. So we're going to see
Geist of Saint Trap, Force of Will, Spell Pierce, Polluted Delta, Jace the Mind Sculptor, and Umezawa's Jit are the cards that Jason has to choose from, and that is not going to be easy. So he's going to put Jin on the bottom.
Yeah, once you've clicked there, you're pretty much committed because otherwise your click's just going to die.
So now he does draw a card off of this. So he's not set up his library at all. You saw him very slowly do this.
Yeah, there's a lot of little stuff going on the stack right now, so Andrew just wants to be sure that he's doing everything in the right order here. There's no confusion about what's on the stack or what's being attempted to resolve.
So the click's ability resolves first, and the polluted delta fetch is going to resolve. The click, of course, putting the Umazawa shit on the bottom, giving Andrew a new card, but then when he searches for a land, he has to shuffle. He does find a Thoughtseize for his draw. And so now he's going to get to untap, he's going to get to draw. There's a Ponder. He's going to start his turn off with a Thoughtseize. So Jace the Mind Sculptor, Primeval Titan, From the Latch Troll, and a Senses Divine Top are Jason's Force cards. I think probably Jace.
Well, he does have Spell Pierce in hand, which means that he's equipped to handle Jace, but not really equipped to handle Thrun. So there's an argument for taking Thrun, I suppose.
Okay. Yes, so Thrun could be very problematic here.
Yeah, it seems like a card with the potential to just randomly shut out some of Andrew's action if Jason's able to draw well enough to sort of get the right setup around it. If I'm in Andrew's position, I feel like it's a lot more likely that I lose to Thrun than to Jace, given the presence of Spell Pierce in my hand.
Sure. But he is going to select Jace with that Thoughtseize, leaving him with a Primeval Titan, a Threat in the Last Troll, and that Sensei's Divine Top. Mendelian Click, Scavenging Ooze, and Sensei's Divine Top already in play for Jason right now. Just a little bit short on lands. As we're going to see, looks like a Ponder here. Yes, a Ponder here for Andrew. All of this during the first main phase.
Looks like we're leaving.
Happy, yep, happy. Draws a Force of Will. I feel like maybe he wanted to Ponder first.
Yeah,
then Thoughtseize. Cannot Force of Will. If he had known he was going to draw Force of Will, maybe he takes a Thrun there instead.
Well, it's one of those things where it's both of those cards influence how you want to resolve the other.
Sure. That's
so it's
true.
not that clear. I think leading with the Thoughtseize first is probably going to give you more information about what you want to do with your turn in general than leading with Ponder does about what you would potentially want to do with Thoughtseize. So
Okay.
I do like the sequencing that Andrew did, but it is definitely complicated.
Now here is a Geist St. Traft. The Scavenging Ooze is going to start removing some things. Going to remove his own Baleful Strix, get a little bigger.
And if we were planning on trying to resolve Geist St. Trap this turn, I definitely would have taken Throne over Jace.
Yeah. I know that he can, if he does have the ability now to put Geist St. Traft on a put a Batter Skull on a Geist St. Traft, make that into a 6/6 and put that 4/4 flyer out there. But Thrun can regenerate and just overall just be like this large annoyance.
Yeah.
But at the same time, Jason with only having 4 lands in play, 2 to regenerate, kind of like, a double, it taxes 2 of his lands.
Well, I'd also just be concerned about Pernicious Deed. It's in the deck. I guess Andrew has it covered with the Forcibles in his hand, but
another one certainly doesn't hurt. Now you're going to see him. Looks like we're going to see a Batter Skull equip. There that is. The other thing to be wary of too here is that he can't just double block this Batter Skull. Or this Geist on the Batter Skull. It is a 6/6, but that's a 4/4 Throne and a 3/3 Scavenging Ooze, so double block can't happen here.
I don't know if Jason can afford to give up his run in that kind of manner. Because that Batter Skull is not going anywhere in the short term, it's just moving around to some other creature.
Nope. looks like the hit is going to happen. Be a total of 10 damage, and Andrew will gain 6 from that. So top activation here, you see a Veteran Explorer, a Tropical Island, and a Mystery card.
Takes a therapy.
All right, so there is a Cabal Therapy.
Assuming we're going to be naming Force of Will, given that Andrew saw quite a few of them. Maybe we had to take Jace the Mind Sculptor.
This is a damned if you do, damned if you don't,
Yeah.
if there ever was one.
Names Jace, he's a hand with 3 Force of Wills and a Spell Pierce. I mean, the flashback on the therapy is going to be pretty good here.
So here comes Meddling Click. That's going to come across for 3. You're going to knock Andrew down to 16. Maybe that's the creature he's going to sacrifice to the Cabal Therapy. See Scavenging Ooze and throwing the last troll, kind of standing tall there.
Yep.
But no flashback at all. Okay. Andrew going to untap. He's going to draw. I guess he's got the 2 mana available for the Geist right now as well.
And there's actually all
Yeah.
all 4 Force of Wills in hand now. So
Quads. Can hard cast 1, then remove, and then cast the other 2 for free. So here comes the Geist with the Battered Skull and the Flyer in the air. Double block going to happen here.
So I like this double block a lot more this turn than I did on the previous turn, because the Scavenging Ooze is sort of whatever. You can gladly trade that for the Geist, but Jason has too much invested in this threat at this point. It's too integral to everything that's going on.
Who's going to remove a Thoughtseize here? Stop that from happening with Snapcaster Mage.
Standard with a box number
Loses the Scavenging
5.
Ooze.
Your event is now ready.
And Geist is going to go bye-bye.
Standard with a box number 5.
So
This is-
Thrun's going to be able to kind of hold the fort down here.
Yeah, this is what you kind of meant with the Thoughtseize, where he had the option between Thrun and Jason because Andrew did have, a Spell Pierce. Thrun does get to be an annoyance here,
Yeah.
where it wouldn't be otherwise, and it looked like he did have some clean answers to Jace. Jace is, of course, very, very scary, but it looked like he did have Jace covered a few turns ago, and now he has to deal with a Thrun as you do see Veteran Explorer come into play for Jason. That thing's ready to offer up a block.
And because of that Cabal Therapy looming in the graveyard, it's just Andrew's compelled to basically counter anything that he can to sort of mitigate the harm that Cabal Therapy is eventually going to do. Because those Force of Wills are getting stripped at some point.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of when and on what terms. So Andrew's just kind of forced to do this.
And so he does force a will, just a Veteran Explorer, because of the Cabal Therapy's looming. Also the fact that he would be able to get more lands out of his deck, which is actually scary for Andrew, from Jason's perspective. And now since Divine top activation, he's going to draw a card. Doesn't look to be very useful at all. So
Yeah,
2
he has
tops
a
in his
ton
hand.
of tops.
Yeah.
And the colored mana situation is really harming him here too. He's trying to cast green spells and keep up regeneration for Thrun, and he only has the Bayou to go along with 2 islands and a creeping tar pit.
So now you see Jason tap out for both tops and pass the turn back, so shields
A
are
forest
down.
perhaps, but he's still choked on green mana.
Yeah. Now Andrew's going to suit up here with that Batter Skull. So that's going to make that into a 5/6 Stoneforge Mystic. And in he comes.
Jason falling to 1
1,
here.
yep. 1 to 24. So there's Marsh Flats.
And in Legacy, for those of you who are more standard players than Legacy players or modern players, falling to 1 is actually critical because it means now your fetch lands are done for the remainder of the game.
Yeah. Maelstrom Pulse the draw.
Unfortunately, now with him at 1, he has to basically flash therapy on Force of Will And then the 2 Stoneforge missing, so just attack for lethal through the Thrud.
That is the problem.
Spins top, finds a Trop. I have to assume Trop is good for him here.
First Trop. Pulse, Primeval Titan. Snapcaster Mages his hand. Andrew untaps. He draws. It's a Geisha Draft.
So looks like we have a double block coming, so we're going to trade Stoneforge for Click in essence.
Yep. Clear that out of the way. Batterskull's still here, along with that Stoneforge Mystic. Now we do see Andrew is going to play this Geisha Draft here. Can't protect it because he has all those Force of Wills. And it's going to pass the turn back.
Yeah, I don't know if this is going to be able to get out of this guy, basically the Angel.
Yeah, I mean that's the problem now, right? As he does draw Jason the Mind Sculptor, which oddly enough cannot save him in this situation. We've seen Jace do a lot of things over the course of our lives doing coverage. It's rare that it can't get you out of a situation.
Yep. But we've also seen Geisha Draft punk out plenty of people with a bunch of spells in their hands.
Yeah,
too,
that's
so
true. That's true. That's what Geist is known to do.
Cuts both ways.
Yep. And what do they have in common? Ah, they're both blue. Sure.
Blue
Sure.
Mythics.
Yeah, sure. That's probably how it should go. There's a Scavenging Ooze. Take a look at the graveyards here.
Just want to make sure that he can't gain enough life to care, you know.
Yeah. He wants to double check things. Here's 3 mana. Pulse that. Which will happen.
Sure.
So Andrew going to quickly untap. He's going to draw a card. And in comes the Angel token for what looks to be a lethal attack, and it is. So Andrew Tenjum is going to win the match 2-0 over Jason Hwang playing Bug Explorer. So that's going to push him on to either 5-1 or 6-0 for the course of the weekend.
Yep.
Our first time seeing Esper Stoneblade, and unsurprisingly seeing it win, as that's what it is known to do.
Still doing its thing.
Yep.
Andrew made a deep run in the center portion of the tournament yesterday as well.
Yeah.
Back on camera today, and yep, just, you know, Jason was, we see this a lot in some control mirrors in Legacy, where one deck is trying to kind of fiddle around to set up this pretty fancy shop, and Esper Stoneblade is just merciless efficiency. All the pieces are individually very powerful. There's some synergies there, but it's just these are the good blue, white, and black cards.
Yeah.